Give me your hand. I'll make you walk. The homeless boy said it in a whisper, like a secret meant only for the man in the wheelchair. His palm was small, calloused, and a little dirty from sleeping under bridges and bus stops. His eyes were bright and steady. He stood in front of the Paralyzed Millionaire at the edge of a shining hotel courtyard, where a charity gala glittered with lights and gold plates and expensive perfume. Cameras flashed. Music played. People laughed. But the world went silent when the boy spoke. Mr. Marcus Hale, the man everyone called the builder of the city, stared at the child's hand. Marcus's legs had not worked since the night the bridge fell. Doctors said he would never stand again. He wore a dark suit, neat and perfect, and sat in a chair that cost more than most cars. His jaw tightened. His fingers trembled on the armrest. "Say that again," Marcus said. The boy leaned closer. "Give me your hand. I'll make you walk." Gasps rippled through the crowd. A security guard moved in. A woman in a glittering dress hissed, "Get that child away." Another man laughed, then stopped when he saw the boy's face. The boy did not blink. He did not look scared. He looked sure. Slowly, Marcus lifted his right hand. The boy placed his small hand over it. For one sharp second, the air seemed to crackle. Marcus's left foot twitched. "Did you see that?" someone cried. The wheelchair rolled an inch as if pulled by a string. Marcus sucked in a breath. The boy squeezed his hand gently, like he was telling a story only Marcus could hear. Then the chair lurched toward the marble steps. "Stop him!" people shouted. The front wheels tipped. The boy didn't let go. Marcus's heart slammed in his chest. The edge of the first step waited like a mouth. Everything froze on that cliff. Before we go on, like this video, subscribe and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Your support helps us tell more true-to-life dramas that teach and inspire. Now let me take you back to where this began. Malik Jordan was 12 years old and knew every warm air vent in the city. He knew which bakery threw out bread at 8 p.m. and which laundromat owner let him sit inside on rainy nights if he kept quiet and read his book. He kept three things in his backpack: a folded photo of his mom, a spiral notebook with drawings, and a tiny Bible with cracked leather. He wasn't a saint. He was hungry most days. He was stubborn. He didn't trust easily. But he listened. The city had a voice. The sidewalks told stories. People's eyes told the rest. He had a rule: if you can help, help. He learned it from his mom before she got sick. She used to say, "God gave you hands to hold and eyes to see. Use both." On a cold Tuesday morning, Malik stood under the overpass and watched cars slide by. A man in a blue truck tossed out a paper cup still half full. Malik dashed across, grabbed it, sniffed it, and made a face. Coffee. Cold. Bitter. He sighed and tossed it into the bin. He was about to go when he heard a tiny whimper. He followed the sound to a cardboard box. Inside was a small black dog with a white paw and a collar too tight around its neck. Malik's chest pinched. He reached in, loosened the collar, and lifted the dog. It licked his chin and wagged its tail even though it was shaking. "If I can help, I help," Malik whispered. He found a water puddle and let the dog drink. Then he tucked it inside his jacket and walked to the old brick church on Lily Street. Sister Ruth opened the door and raised an eyebrow. "Malik, what is that wriggly thing under your coat?" "A friend," Malik said. Sister Ruth sighed, then smiled a little. "Every friend you bring has 4 legs." She got a bowl. Malik fed the dog leftover rice and a little chicken. The dog ate fast, then fell asleep. Sister Ruth made Malik a sandwich and asked no questions about last night, where he slept, or why his shoelace was tied to hold his shoe together. She knew he'd answer only some questions. Before he left, she pressed a flyer into his hand. "Big event tonight. Rich folks raising money for the new children's clinic. They'll have leftovers. You can eat. Come early. Stand near the back. Be polite." Malik nodded. He slid the flyer into his backpack, patted the sleeping dog, and headed out. On the corner, he bumped into Mr. Gideon, the violin man who played by the bus station for coins and smiles. Mr. Gideon had gray hair that stuck up like grass after rain and eyes that saw straight through to your thoughts. "You walk like you're listening," Mr. Gideon said, tuning a string. "I am," Malik said. "The city is talking." "What's it saying?" "Watch your step today," Malik said softly. Mr. Gideon chuckled, then grew serious. "You have a gift, boy." "I don't have anything," Malik said. "Only this." He wiggled his fingers. Mr. Gideon nodded. "Hands can be gifts. Music can be a gift. Kindness is a gift too. Don't forget." Malik watched Mr. Gideon play. People hurried by. Some dropped coins. One man stopped, wiped his eyes, and walked away taller. Music did that sometimes. So did touch. Malik had learned that when his mom was dying and he sat by her bed and held her hand. Some nights she would stop shaking when he pressed his palm over hers and whispered, "I'm here." It didn't fix her, but it helped. That night, the hotel courtyard looked like a movie. Lights hung in the trees. Tables shone like pools. Men wore black suits. Women wore dresses that shimmered when they moved. Waiters floated by with silver trays. Malik stood at the back gate with 3 other kids from the shelter and watched people smile into cameras. "Don't touch anything," one guard said. "We won't," Malik said. He didn't want trouble. He wanted food and maybe a look at the big man on the poster. The poster stood near the fountain and showed a strong face with kind eyes and a serious mouth. Under the photo were the words, "Marcus Hale Foundation, Building Hope for Children." Malik had seen Marcus on TV. People said Marcus built bridges where people said bridges were impossible. Until 1 month last year, the East Bridge fell at night during a storm. Marcus was on the deck with a flashlight checking bolts. News said he stayed to help workers off, then a section snapped under him. He dropped 40 feet, hit metal and lived. But his legs did not. Some people said Marcus was still a hero. Some said he was proud and kept everyone out. Some said he gave more money away after the fall. Some said his eyes didn't smile anymore. Malik wanted to see for himself. He let his eyes wander. He saw a tall woman in a white dress look at Marcus's chair and then look away. He saw a man with a smooth face whisper into his phone and smirk. He saw 2 kids in tuxes poke at the fountain with sticks until a guard cleared his throat. He saw a waitress slip a piece of bread into her apron and wink at the kitchen boy. Malik saw it all. He always did. A waiter passed with small meat pies. Malik swallowed hard and kept his hands at his sides. The boy beside him Dre hissed, "Take one." Malik shook his head. "Wait." Another tray came, heavier, slower, and Malik moved with it, quiet as a shadow. He took one pie and stepped aside. He gave Dre one. He gave the girl Pinky one too. She grinned. "Thanks." That was when the music stopped. A hush spread. Heads turned toward the entrance where a long black car had pulled up. 2 men in black suits stepped out, eyes scanning. Then a third figure appeared. A tall man in a deep blue suit, neat beard, steady eyes. He sat in a wheelchair that moved like a whisper over the stone. The chair stopped near the fountain. Marcus Hale had arrived. People clapped. Flash, flash, flash. Marcus nodded, lips pressed thin. He was polite. He was tired. He held his hands on his lap in a way that told Malik that too many hands had patted those hands and said, "Be strong, and you've got this, and we love your work." Marcus's eyes were calm, but they were far away, like he was standing on a quiet shore inside himself. Beside him stood a man with a gold watch and a careful smile. The man leaned down and spoke into Marcus's ear. Marcus nodded once. The man straightened and looked pleased as if he owned the nod. Malik felt his stomach tighten. He did not like the gold watch man. He didn't know why. He listened again. The city's voice changed. It hummed, low and warning. "Watch your step." Sister Ruth's flyer said there would be a speech. There was. A woman in bright colors talked about the children's clinic. A little boy with a tube in his nose waved at the crowd. People clapped again. Cameras flashed. The gold watch man spoke about gifts and goals and numbers. Then he turned to Marcus and waited. Marcus rolled forward a little. He cleared his throat, and when he spoke, his voice was deep and warm. "When I was a boy, my mother taught me that true strength is what you give away. Tonight, we build for those who cannot build for themselves. Thank you for helping us do that." It was a good line. People smiled. Malik almost smiled too. But then Marcus's voice faded. He blinked as if the lights were too bright. The gold watch man touched Marcus's shoulder and reached for a small velvet pouch on the back of the chair, where a water bottle should have been. Malik saw the man slip something into Marcus's hand. A pill. Marcus hesitated, then obeyed. He took the pill with a sip of water. Malik's neck prickled. He had seen that look before. When his mom took the strong pills, her eyes went soft and far. She spoke slow, like she was moving through fog. Sometimes the pills were needed. Sometimes they were too much. Marcus finished his speech and sat back. People cheered louder than before, as if volume could carry him. The music resumed. The gold watch man laughed and shook hands. Malik edged closer to the fountain. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He only knew he couldn't leave. A waiter passed. Malik took a grape and felt guilty. He slid along the hedge until he was 10 steps from Marcus's chair. The guard at the gate glanced away for 1 second, and that was enough. Malik slipped through the gap like smoke. He stood behind a tree trunk and watched. 2 women leaned in to tell Marcus a story about their twins. Marcus nodded politely. His fingers trembled again. The gold watch man returned, whispered, left, returned, whispered. The pattern felt wrong. Malik swallowed. If you can help, help. He took a breath and stepped out. He didn't plan to say anything. He planned to stand close and watch and maybe wait for a chance to ask if Marcus needed water or a blanket, something simple, something kind. But when he reached Marcus's side and saw the man's hand shake and saw the far look in his eyes, a sentence rose in Malik's mouth like a wave he could not stop. "Give me your hand," Malik whispered. "I'll make you walk." It was not a threat. It was not magic. It was a promise he didn't fully understand until it left his lips. Somewhere under all the lights and music, Malik felt a tug. He remembered pressing his palm on his mother's hand when she shook. He remembered Mr. Gideon's words. "Hands can be gifts." Marcus stared at the boy. The courtyard turned to glass. The gold watch man turned quickly, eyes sharp, but too late to stop it. Malik offered his hand, steady and sure. Marcus lifted his hand, slow as morning. Their palms met. Warmth moved, not hot like fire, but quiet like sunlight. Malik's fingers were firm. He did not squeeze hard. He held on like a boy saying, "I'm here." Marcus's shoulder loosened. His breath steadied. In that tiny moment, his body remembered something older than fear. Balance. Wait. The map of how to stand that every baby learns and every fall tries to erase. His left foot twitched. "Did you see that?" someone whispered. Marcus blinked hard. He felt a spark race down his spine, hop across his lower back, and land in his thighs like a bird touching down after a long flight. It wasn't pain. It wasn't a full feeling. It was a whisper inside his legs saying, "Wake up." The gold watch man grabbed Malik's shoulder. "Back, kid." Malik didn't move. He kept his eyes on Marcus. "Do you feel that?" he asked. "Yes," Marcus said, and the word was a small stone dropped into a deep well. The wheelchair rolled forward an inch. People gasped. The guard jogged toward them. A woman reached for her phone. The music faltered again, then stopped. The boy and the man stayed locked hand to hand. The gold watch man yanked at Malik's arm, hard now, faster. Malik planted his feet and swayed. Marcus gripped the armrest with his free hand. Then the front wheels hit the edge of the first marble step. The chair tipped. I again. "Stop the chair," someone shouted. The guard lunged and missed. The gold watch man let go of Malik and grabbed the chair handle. His fingers slipped. The chair tilted more. The fountain's white stone curved downward like a slide to the dark water. Malik stepped in front of the chair, still holding Marcus's hand, and braced his body against the wheels with all his small weight. His shoes scraped. Rubber squealed. The chair slowed for half a heartbeat. Marcus's heart crashed in his chest. He had a wild thought. If he could put one foot down even a little, he could help. So he tried. Something flickered in his thigh. The chair wobbled. And that is when a scream ripped the air, sharp and knifed with fear. It came from the front steps near the entrance. People turned their heads. A woman in a red dress stood frozen, pointing at the chandelier above the courtyard door. The metal support that held it shuddered. A bolt slipped. The chandelier tilted and groaned. Everyone looked up. The chair tipped down. The boy refused to let go. Cut to black. The chandelier groaned above the marble steps. Metal scraped, glass trembled, and the crowd below froze like statues. A single bolt popped loose and clinked onto the stone floor. Then crash. The chandelier came crashing down. Screams tore through the courtyard as crystal shards exploded across the ground. Guests in gowns and tuxedos shoved each other to escape. The music died mid-note. Smoke from shattered bulbs curled into the air. But no one was closer to the danger than Marcus and Malik. The chair was still tilted forward, one wheel dangling over the edge of the steps. Malik braced against it, his teeth clenched. His sneakers slid on the marble. He shouted, "Hold on." Marcus's pulse thundered. For a split second he felt the impossible, a faint spark inside his legs again, almost like they wanted to help him push back. His hand gripped Malik's so tightly the boy winced. "Back away, boy," the gold watch man barked, lunging toward them. But instead of helping, he shoved Malik aside, trying to grab the wheelchair himself. The sudden push sent Malik sprawling across the marble floor, his palms burning from the scrape. The crowd gasped. Some shouted for help. But Marcus saw it clearly. The man with the gold watch didn't want Malik near him. "Leave him," Marcus yelled, his voice sharper than it had been in months. "Don't touch the boy." Malik scrambled back to his feet, ignoring the sting in his hands. His eyes blazed. He ran straight to Marcus again, planting himself beside the chair. "I'm not leaving you." For the first time, Marcus didn't feel like the helpless man in the chair. He felt defended, protected, by a boy with nothing but courage. Another crash rang out, this time from the second chandelier overhead, which swayed dangerously, glass raining down in thin, sharp shards. People ducked under tables, screaming. In the chaos, Marcus noticed something others missed. The bolts on both chandeliers hadn't rusted. They looked cut. Deliberately. His chest tightened. This wasn't an accident. And when his eyes flicked to the gold watch man, who now stood with his phone half hidden in his palm and a smirk tugging at his lips, Marcus understood. Someone wanted him dead. The chair wobbled again, slipping closer to the steps. Malik pressed his shoulder against the wheel. His voice shook but his words were strong. You're not falling. Not while I'm here. Marcus stared at him. This boy, a stranger, had more loyalty than the man who'd been beside him for months. The truth hit him hard. Who are you? Marcus whispered. Malik looked up, his face fierce despite the fear in his eyes. Just someone who helps when he can. Before Marcus could answer, a guard shouted, Everyone move. The second chandelier is about to fall. The crowd surged, panicked, pushing toward the exits. The floor shook with running feet. The gold watch man slipped into the chaos, disappearing through the side gate. Marcus's mind raced. Why would his own partner vanish instead of helping? Why did Malik's touch make his legs spark with life when doctors said it was impossible? And why, out of all people, was a homeless boy the only one refusing to let go? The second chandelier creaked louder. A jagged piece of glass dropped inches from Malik's shoulder. Marcus grabbed the boy's hand tighter. Don't let go, Marcus said. I won't, Malik answered. And in that storm of glass and firelight, as the giant chandelier snapped loose with a scream of metal, something inside Marcus Hale's paralyzed body stirred in a way that made no sense at all. Marcus's wheelchair tilted, his chest heaving. The sound of screams faded into the background. What he felt in that moment wasn't fear, it was something else. A strange warmth crawling down from his spine into his thighs, into his knees, into his legs that had been dead for over a year. He gripped Malik's small hand tighter. What are you doing to me? Marcus whispered, his voice breaking. The boy's eyes glowed with determination. I told you, mister. Give me your hand, I'll make you walk. The words were soft, but they struck like thunder. At first, people laughed. Guests in diamonds and gold whispered behind their hands. Ridiculous. A dirty boy saving the great Marcus Hale? Someone remove him. Security guards started forward, but a firm voice cut through the air. Stop. Don't touch that boy. All eyes turned. A woman in her 40s pushed her way through the crowd. Her hair was wrapped in a neat scarf, and her eyes carried the kind of fire that made even the boldest men pause. It was Aunt Clara, known around the city's shelters for feeding homeless kids on Sundays. Malik's aunt. She raised her chin. That's my nephew. He's a good boy. You people don't know him, but I do. And if he says he can help Mr. Hale, then let him. Murmurs spread. Some rolled their eyes. Some sneered. A homeless boy? Nonsense. But Clara didn't back down. She stepped closer, tears shining. I raised that child after his mama passed. He listens. He feels things no doctor feels. He's special. God gave him something. Now you stand there and watch. The crowd stilled. Malik pressed his forehead against Marcus's hand, whispering words no one else could hear. They weren't magic spells. They weren't chants. They were simple, steady words. You're not broken. You're stronger than this. Your legs remember. Just trust me. Just try. And then it happened. Marcus felt it again, stronger now. A pull inside his hips. His toes twitched. Gasps erupted. A woman shrieked. He moved. Marcus blinked. Sweat ran down his temples. He looked at Malik in shock. That hasn't happened in months. Malik nodded fiercely. Then don't stop. Push harder. Marcus tried. His knees trembled. His right leg jerked. For the first time since the accident, he felt his weight shift. The crowd went silent. But not everyone looked amazed. In the corner, the gold watch man returned, his jaw clenched. His eyes darted toward the velvet pouch still hidden in his pocket. Inside were the pills Marcus had been swallowing for months. Pills prescribed, he claimed, for pain. Pills that Malik had seen him slip into Marcus's water when no one was looking. Malik's Aunt Clara caught his stare. Her face hardened. You, she shouted, pointing at the man. You've been feeding him poison, haven't you? The man froze, then forced a smile. That boy is confused. Those are vitamins. I've been helping Mr. Hale recover. No. Malik snapped, his voice cutting sharp. I know that smell. Those aren't vitamins. They're bad pills. They made him weak so he'd stay in the chair. That's why he never got better. The crowd gasped again. Some nodded. Some doubted. Marcus's breathing quickened. His mind spun. Is this true? He demanded, his voice cracking across the courtyard. The man's smile faltered. He muttered, it's complicated. But Malik held tighter to Marcus's hand. His small body shook, not from fear but from the force of something flowing through him. His voice rose. Stand up, Mr. Hale. Don't let them keep you down. You can do it. Marcus's whole body tensed. He pressed his hands against the armrests. His legs burned like fire, nerves screaming awake. He grunted, sweat dripping, his face twisted with effort. Then, his right knee straightened. His left foot pushed against the marble. The wheelchair jerked backward. Marcus Hale, paralyzed for over a year, rose halfway out of his chair. The crowd screamed. Some dropped their glasses. Phones shot into the air, recording every second. Malik shouted, Don't stop now. Marcus's arms shook. His chest heaved. But he rose higher, inch by inch, until he stood, wobbling, weak but standing, on his own 2 feet. Silence. Then chaos. Some clapped wildly, tears running down their cheeks. Some whispered, Impossible. Others looked at Malik with wide, fearful eyes. Is he some kind of witch child? What did he do? Aunt Clara raised her hands. He did what faith does. He listened with his heart when no one else would. This boy saved him. Marcus swayed, gripping Malik's shoulder. His eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years he looked at the crowd not from below, but from above. His chest heaved. I can stand, Marcus whispered. Dear God, I can stand. Phones flashed like fireworks. Voices rose, half in awe, half in doubt. Some reached for Marcus, some for Malik, but Malik pulled away, his face stern. Don't touch him, Malik said. He's not healed yet. Those pills are still inside him. Until they're gone, he's not free. A cliff of silence fell over the courtyard. Marcus's eyes darted to the gold watch man, whose hand now trembled as it shoved the velvet pouch deeper into his pocket. The truth was spilling faster than he could hide it. And Marcus Hale, standing unsteadily on his feet for the first time, knew his fight was just beginning. Marcus planted his feet and kept Malik close. His legs were trembling but his voice was steady. He looked straight at the man with the gold watch. The crowd spun with whispers. People pointed. Cameras swung. The gold watch man's face went white. You didn't think I would ever know, did you? Marcus said. He held up his phone. The screen showed one short video paused on a frame. The frame showed the gold watch man, a suit unbuttoned, and a woman leaning into him. They were not in a public place. They were in Marcus's own office late at night. Marcus's hand trembled as he touched the screen. The man's mouth opened. He tried to laugh, a small wrong sound. That was private, he said. Old friends make mistakes. We all do. You used my office, Marcus said. You used my trust. You told me you were my friend. You told me you were protecting me. I had that camera because I wanted to make sure my office was safe. I never thought the man I trusted would come in and take what wasn't his. Marcus set the phone on the velvet chair beside him so everyone could see. The video played again. People leaned forward. That picture and that sharp little film made the room hush like winter. For the first time that night, the gold watch man could not hide behind smiles. You should have told me about her, Marcus said softly. You should have told me about the pills. I thought you were my friend. I thought you cared for me. I didn't know you were making a plan to take everything from me. The gold watch man swallowed. He looked at Marcus like the world had tilted and he could no longer stand. Marcus, listen. I've helped you. I took charge when you could not. The pills were for pain. Everyone knows he needs strong medicine. That's all. Malik watched him closely. He remembered the smell on the spoon. He remembered his mother and the way the medicine had taken her away little by little. He felt rage like hot wind on his skin. He remembered the brown bottles he had seen in a cabinet. He remembered the trash can and the smell. He could not stand someone hurting Marcus for money. You called them vitamins, Malik said. His voice was not big but it cut through the murmurs. Vitamins don't make you sleepy for days. Vitamins don't steal a man's strength. He held Marcus's hand tighter. Aunt Clara stepped forward. She had papers in her hand. She had been to the shelters, to the bank, and to the clinic. She had found things late at night while other people were busy with their ball gowns. Look here, she said, and she handed receipts to a young officer who had wandered close enough to hear. The receipts were not the kind that paid for physical therapy. They were orders. Orders placed under false names. Packages picked up from drop points at odd hours. Money moved out of Marcus's accounts little by little to a hidden account. The officer read the numbers slowly, eyes widening. People who had laughed earlier now felt cold. A woman in a blue dress covered her mouth. Another man swore. Marcus watched the gold watch man's hands. One of the watches he wore was too new for a man who claimed he was struggling. The crowd began to smell a lie, and it did not sit well. "You think this is about pills?" Marcus said. He looked at Malik and then at Clara. "No. The pills were the glue. The plan was much bigger. He wanted me gone so he could take over everything. He planned to make the fall look like a terrible accident. The chandelier, the wiring. It was cut. The bolts were tampered with." He waited for a moment when people were distracted by panic, and then, Marcus swallowed, then forced himself to continue. He would make sure it was only an accident. He wanted everything to look like fate. A ripple of horror moved through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Who would do that?" A child began to cry. Mothers pressed hands to their mouths. The gold watch man's face twisted. He stepped forward, voice trembling. "You are making this up. You have no proof of what you claim about the chandelier." His eyes flicked to the support above them, to the empty space where the chandelier had been. He laughed in a weak, hollow way. "Do you really think I would stoop as low as to try to kill you? Marcus, we are partners. We are family. How dare you accuse me?" Marcus's jaw hardened. "I do have proof." He tapped his phone again. The display flicked to another clip. It showed a camera from the service stairwell. In the footage, a maintenance worker, dressed in a janitor's uniform, moved with a package tucked under his jacket. He climbed the back stairs and paused at the chandelier housing. He worked with tools. He had a small, cloth-wrapped bundle. He slipped down the stair 2 minutes later. The time stamp matched the bolt that fell earlier. People pushed closer. "Where did you get that?" someone asked. Marcus's voice was low. "From the contractor's feed. I have the building footage." He looked straight at the man. "You hired him. You paid him through a shell company. His name is Marco. He's missing his coin, but he will talk. I was trying to protect you. I didn't tell because I wanted to keep the company from spinning. I didn't want the papers to tear us apart." He paused. In that pause was a lifetime. Marcus felt the anger swell and then fold into something colder. He had loved many things in his life. He had also protected people he should not have trusted. Watching that film made him feel like a fool and a target both. "You were my friend and I kept quiet about everything I found in hope. I thought you were just a man who made mistakes," Marcus said. "I didn't believe you would try to kill me. I never thought you would set up an accident and build a story to cover your tracks. I was wrong." The gold watch man's face cracked. He did not deny the contractor. He tried to say it was a mistake, that Marco had fixed the light and left. That his fingerprints would be on the wrong bolt because he had been there legally to fix a fault. But the receipts Aunt Clara held told a different story. The receipts matched no scheduled maintenance. The times were wrong. The amounts were odd. The man's voice dropped to a whisper. "I had to protect the firm. Marcus, there are investors. There are people who would take everything if you were too weak to be the face of the company. We had numbers that would crumble. You know that. If you would never recover, the firm would fall. I did what I had to do." He said that very quietly, like a man listing the weather. That sentence hit Marcus like thunder. The gold watch man had not only taken pills from the bottle and put them in a glass. He had planned to kill the only man who could stop him if he recovered. He had built the chandelier plan to look like a mistake. Malik's mouth went dry. He had never heard such cold words. He had seen greed by the river, seen men who sold lies for small coins. But hearing a man say it out loud in front of so many people felt like a punch. The boy felt anger and fear and a strange, fierce sorrow for Marcus. He wanted to grab the gold watch man and shake him until the truth fell out of him like an old tooth. Clara walked closer. "You fed him drugs to stop him from getting better," she said. "You bought silence with sweet talk and pills. You kept him soft and gullible so you could take from him." The man looked at Clara as if she had slapped him. His hands shook. He stepped backward and grabbed at the arm of a waiter who was passing by. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a remote. The crowd gasped because everyone assumed the worst. Marcus's chest tightened. The air felt thin and hot. "What is that for?" the officer asked. He took a step toward the man. The gold watch man laughed, short and bitter. "You think I would sit here and let everyone search me? I have lawyers. I have plans. I have people who make inconvenient things disappear." He held the remote up like a dark jewel. His thumb hovered over the button. I can ruin this entire night. This whole event. I can cause panic again. I can pretend something else went wrong. You think I won't try? You think you can stand here and accuse me without consequences? Malik felt his knees go weak. He remembered his mama's voice telling him to move when danger came. He felt the tiny dog stir in his jacket. He did not want anyone to be hurt. He did not want Marcus to be taken away again. He wanted to protect him. Marcus spoke then, low and steady, stronger than he felt. You will not scare me. I gave you a chance because you were my friend. I will not give you a chance to hurt anyone. You either come clean now or you will answer to the police. The man looked around, eyes wild. Then he lunged for the edge of the fountain as if he wanted to disappear into the crowd. He pushed through people, knocking a waitress to the side. Aunt Clara moved to block him, but an officer reached him first. Sudden movement came from the building entrance. A maintenance worker, cheeks pale and hat in hand, ran out. It was Marco. He was out of breath. He dropped to his knees and pointed at the gold watch man. He paid me, Marco said, voice breaking. He paid me to cut support. He told me he would pay more if I made it look like a fall. I did not know he would use pills to keep him weak. I only did what he paid me for. He looked at Marcus like a man who had swallowed his fear. I hid the tools in the service closet. He gave the money and the order. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Marco's eyes were wet. People shouted. Some called for the police. Marcus felt a cold knot in his stomach. The truth was clearer now. The man in the gold watch had arranged the fall. He had expected the accident to look like misfortune. He had expected Marcus to die or to stay weak and leave everything to him. The gold watch man swore and reached into his pocket as if to pull something else. The crowd closed in. Phones were raised. The officers took a step forward. His hand came out with another device. He pressed the button. The lights above the courtyard flickered. For a second, everything went dark like a closed eye. Screams started again. Someone knocked over a chair. People shoved. Malik's heart raced. He heard a noise from above, a grinding that made the stone under their feet tremble. A cable stretched taut farther above them. Moved. The empty space where the chandelier had been now groaned. The motor in the ceiling whined low, and a shadow passed across the courtyard like a bird. Malik's mouth went dry. He felt the heat of people's fear like a blanket on his skin. He looked at Marcus, whose face was pale but defiant. He saw Clara, arms out, trying to push people back. He saw officers reaching up. The gold watch man smiled then, and it was a broken smile. Maybe you think you can stop me, he called out. Maybe you think this city will save you. Marcus did not answer. He did not have to. A wire snapped with a sound like a gunshot. The courtyard filled with the low groan of something huge being pulled. Everyone knew what that sound meant. Malik tightened his grip on Marcus's hand. He could not let go. Not now. Not when the man he barely knew but already loved as a man who had trusted people wrongly stood with him. His small chest hammered with fear, but his eyes were steady like a boy who had seen too much and chosen to stand anyway. The shadow grew larger. The grinding turned to a scream as metal and cables began to move. The ground seemed to tilt. And then the last light vanished. Blue and red lights painted the courtyard walls as police cars rolled in. Officers pushed through the stunned crowd and went straight for the man with the gold watch. His face twisted with rage as they snapped cold cuffs on his wrists. He shouted about lawyers, about power, about how nothing would touch him. But no one listened anymore. His words had no weight. Marcus stood with Malik steadying him. The boy's small hand still pressed into his. For the first time in a year, Marcus looked down and saw himself standing on his own 2 feet, not because of medicine, not because of machines, but because of a boy no one believed in. The officer leading the gold watch man paused when Marcus spoke. His voice was calm but sharp. You betrayed me, Marcus said. I gave you my trust. I stayed silent even when I caught you on camera with my secretary, your mistress, in my own office. I said nothing because I thought you were my friend. I thought our bond was worth more than shame. But while I was protecting you, you were planning to kill me. The crowd gasped. People turned to each other, whispering. Everyone knew her, the elegant woman with bright red lipstick who had worked at Marcus's side for years. She stood at the edge of the courtyard, pale as chalk. She tried to leave, but 2 officers stopped her. Marcus's eyes locked on her. You knew, didn't you? You helped him. You handed me the pills and called them vitamins. You smiled while I grew weaker every day. The woman shook, tears running down her face. I didn't know he would go this far, she whispered. I only wanted the money. He promised me we'd leave together. The crowd hissed, disgusted. People who had admired her turned away. The lead detective raised the velvet pouch of pills. "We'll have these analyzed," he said. "But already the doctors have given a report." He turned to the crowd. These weren't vitamins. They were high-dose sedatives and muscle relaxants. Enough to keep a man weak, confused, and half paralyzed. Slowly they were killing him. Gasps tore through the courtyard again. One of the doctors from Marcus's foundation stepped forward, clipboard in hand, his voice firm but compassionate. Mr. Hale's spine was injured, yes. But it was not completely severed. His nerves were trying to repair. These drugs blocked that recovery. Without them, his body has a chance. With physical therapy, he will walk again. The boy was right. Those pills were poison. Malik stood tall, his eyes wide but glowing with fierce pride. He had been called dirty, unwanted, nothing but trouble. Now the same people stared at him with tears in their eyes. Some bowed their heads. Some clapped weakly. Marcus turned to him, his face wet with tears. He knelt slightly, shaky but strong enough to hold the boy's shoulders. His voice cracked. "You are my family now," Marcus said. "I will take care of you. No more cold nights. No more empty stomach. You're not alone anymore." Malik's breath caught. He had never heard words like that. For years he had slept in corners, eating scraps, pretending not to care. But here, in front of everyone, a man who once had everything called him family. His throat burned. His lips trembled. Aunt Clara clapped her hands together and wept. "I told you all. That child has a gift. And now you see it." Marcus looked at the boy again. "You saved my life. You gave me back my legs. You gave me back my hope." The police dragged the gold watch man and the mistress out of the courtyard. He cursed, she cried, but no one looked at them anymore. All eyes were on the man standing and the homeless boy who had done the impossible. The night ended not in ruin but in rebirth. Marcus's company would face its battles. His body would need months of therapy. But he wasn't broken. He wasn't alone. He had Malik. And Malik, for the first time in his life, had someone to call family.